My name is Andres. This is the Baking Steel Test Kitchen. We got Craig here, remote, dialed in, and we are making the magical pita bread today. And what's magical about it is, one, the dough is just awesome, but two, this stuff just puffs, and we're gonna hope to capture that live. I feel like Evel Knievel. We're gonna try to capture the pita blowing up in the oven live. Do not try this at home. It's very dangerous. So we're gonna do the dough first. And typically, however, I do wanna preface that with, when I make pita bread, I'm always using pita dough. I don't make a special recipe for the pita. It's a really relaxed recipe anyway. Go anywhere from 60 to 80% hydration, probably even a bigger span than that. So typically I just peel off like 100-gram dough balls and ball them up and make pita bread. What I like about it is that the dough doesn't need to rest as long because we're kind of rolling it out a little bit. So, once I ball it up, like this morning, I took a batch of dough, made dough balls about 100 grams each, and it's been resting for like an hour or two. That's it. And once I roll it out, it doesn't really need to be relaxed as much as like a pizza dough will. So let's just make a pizza dough, and you guys can see how we do it. Again, these are all the basics that we need. I love these dough containers again, because I'm gonna keep all my flour contained in this thing. I don't have to put it on my counter, which keeps things clean. I need to have a digital scale. If you don't have one of these, you need to really grab one, because when we're making doughs, we got to dial in the ingredients by weight. So I've already poured in, I'm gonna move my camera down, 500 grams of flour here. And so now what I'm gonna do is add some salt, and this is just a basic sea salt from Whole Foods. By the way, props to Whole Foods, just opening up in Grand Rapids. This is just 16 grams, which isn't a lot. Some people say it's a little heavy. Whisk it up, okay? And then I'm gonna take some yeast, and you typically would wanna use a micro scale. This is Fleshman's active dry yeast, okay? Come in on that? How's that? And 1 gram of yeast is like this much. It's like a quarter of a teaspoon. That probably is more than that. That's probably 1.5 grams. I don't have my micro scale handy here, but I'm gonna dump this in, and then I'm just gonna kind of whisk it up again. And what I'll do now is just gonna add my water. And I don't have, I'm just moving into the studio, so I don't even have filters in here yet. So what I'm gonna do, I wanna grab, I'm using boxed water. I want my water, drink my pizza dough, I drink my water filtered, so I wanna use filtered water. Actually, I need my scale. I'm gonna zero my scale out again and add 350 grams of water. That's just about there. Put my water away. I can put my scale away. All my ingredients inside. And now what I'm gonna do is take like a spatula. You guys can see what I'm doing here. I'm just kind of moving it around. And I can see I can keep the entire mess of flour, keeps my wife happy, inside my dough container, which really is handy. In fact, I recommend getting a couple of them, because once I'm done mixing this, I might want to clean it up and put the dough back inside. That means just scraping the sides really nice. I'm essentially going to mix the water and the flour together. And then what I'll do is I'll get my hand inside, and I'll just knead this for like, 2 or 3 minutes. And I won't even do this for that long, because I don't want to bore you guys with my kneading technique. But you can see I'm just going to do this, and I'll put a timer on. I'll make sure I clean up all the sides of the bowl, with my spatula, and just kind of keep incorporating all of the flour and all the water. I press into it so there's no like dry clumps of flour inside. And when I do this for, again, keep scraping the sides up, keep adding the loose stuff inside, right? And do this for about 2 minutes. And when I'm done, I'll put this up. I might clean this bowl out ultimately, right? And what I'll do next, I'm gonna wash my hands quick. What I'll do next is just cover it up. My spatula back, cover this up. Okay, and I'll put that aside, right? It's covered for, I'll let this proof in this container for 12 hours, and I'll take this and I'll just put it into the fridge, and then I'll let it ferment for 2 or 3 days, and then the day of making pizza, I remove it and I make my dough balls. So in this case, we're making pita bread, right? So I have some older dough that I've been using. So now I'm going to make my pita, what they call the balls, because you're going to make your dough balls, and pita I can make an hour or 2 before, because again, I'm going to be rolling this out anyway. But I'm going to show you how I make a dough ball. And I take about 100 grams of dough, just like this, raw dough. I've already measured this out. I'm going to push this down here now so you guys can see what I'm doing. And now I'm going to flour up a little bit of flour on there. This is like a little semolina flour and flour. A little sticky, right? I'm going to basically cup my hand like this and just press and roll at the same time. So I just kind of press and roll. This is a granite top, which is nice. If it gets sticky, just kind of put some flour in your hands and just kind of press and roll. You can see I've got a nice ball here, right? Was that lighting? Can you see that okay? I'm going to put this into my dough container and let it rest. And you can see I've already done a few here already. These were made about an hour ago. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take one of the ones I rolled up an hour ago and take it out, and we're going to make a pita. So how I do that, again, flour my workstation, take my pita. Here's that ball. It's relaxed a little bit. Coat both sides with flour. And now all I'm going to do is lightly press it out. My hands first to get it started. You can see it's not totally relaxed, so it's not stretching super easy, which is why I'm going to take my rolling pin, and I don't have a rolling pin. All I have is a bottle of wine, my rolling pin, and I'm just going to use this and just kind of make sure it doesn't get stuck. So put some flour on there. Boom, and press. And I don't want to stretch these out super flat, but maybe about 1/4 of an inch. Right? Boom, boom, boom. You can see it's got my, I think, a nice 5 or 6 inch disc. And that's probably ready to rock and roll. What do you think, Chef? You like that?
I like that size.
All right, so that's my disc. Okay, now this thing's ready to bake. So what I'm gonna do, I've got my oven preheating at 500 for like the last hour, at 450. I'm gonna put it up to 500 now. Update. I want my steel to be super hot because this pita is gonna expand, right? So I didn't squish it down to like 1/8 of an inch, it's like 1/4 of an inch. And so the goal is I'm gonna put it in the oven. It's gonna take about 1 minute to 1.5 minutes. And what will happen is that dough is gonna expand and blow up. Like you've seen a couple of videos we've done. It's awesome. It's really fun to watch them kind of expand. And it doesn't always expand, but most of the time, hopefully we'll get lucky today. I've got 3 other chances in case this doesn't work. But I'm gonna give the oven like another minute to get a little hotter, and then we're gonna put this in. And the way we do that is our pizza peel, lightly dusted, right? Boom. And I can just kind of give this a little, shake. It should be loose like a puck. I don't want it to stick on here at all. You guys see what I'm doing here? Let me move this down a little bit again. So you can see it's loose. It's moving back and forth. It's gonna be a pretty easy launch. Just make sure the back here, just kind of peel it back, if you will, right? Give that one last little roll. Get those bubbles out of there, right? All right, now we're gonna go into the oven. How can I do this? Let me see, I'm gonna unplug this. unplug this. I'm gonna move you guys in a second. Bear with me. Got this really nice monogram oven on, you guys can see it. Can you see, Chef, okay? Can you guys see? This is awesome. We're going live here, guys. This is awesome. Inside the oven, I'm gonna launch this thing, boom. Close. I'll leave the light on. How's the, can you guys see in there, Chef, or not? No? Is that good right there? All right, so I'm leaving this in there. Am I on it? Okay. Right there. So you can see it starting to bubble a little bit. And the hope is my oven's hot enough to have that thing expand. Let's go. I've done this about 5 times this week in practice. Most of the time it's work. Every time it works, you can see the bubble starting to form right there. Boom. Can you guys see that? Super cool. And the rest will start to expand. There it goes. How exciting is this? This is live on TV, by the way. Super exciting. Contain yourself. Should we go to a commercial break? Cut. There it goes. There it goes. Super cool. Boom. Look at that. Boom. Can you see that, guys? That's amazing. So cool. If we open up the oven now, I can kind of get a better look at that. Right? Isn't that cool? That's going to be really hot. So you got to be really careful when I'm removing that. So what I'm going to do is put you guys back up top here. So I don't want to burn myself. So it gets really hot. The steam inside that pocket, you can kind of see it, right? If I press down a little bit, there's like a little steam escaping. And you can cook the other side of this too, get a little color on it, but they'll flatten out. What we like to do now with these is basically take like a rag, or this is a linen. Move this down. The idea is to make like several of them. So I'll put it inside the linen and I'll kind of just cover it, kind of keep that steam trapped inside, keep these things nice and soft for whatever I'm going to stuff them with. Maybe plastic wrap later. They'll keep nice and soft all day and they make such a great pocket. In fact, I made pita pizzas on these this week. You can just slice them in half and stuff them with like peanut butter and jelly. The kids love them. The kids actually like them just, to be honest, just plain. Put sandwiches in them. They're so versatile. It's such a great, and the advantage that we have is we're fermenting this dough for like 3 or 4 days. So we've got so much flavor just packed inside of these pockets. Just amazing, right? Just like the store, probably better than the store-bought ones, right? Because fermented organic flour, everything's right there for us. Super easy, super fun. Highly recommend these. Let's get to some questions.